hopeful, but not the most confident. And I can't say I blame him.
I was about to say, like, it's something very different between a Neo interview and a Taz interview,
Yeah,
right? Like, if it doesn't matter where Virtus.pro would find themselves on like the form scale for the last 3 months, Taz would always be confident in what was going on. It's like they were always going to win the event. They're going to smash their next opponent. A bit more measured in his approach to it. And I guess, yeah, as you said, you can't really blame them, can you? It's been a bit of a rough go, but at least they sit with the same kind of feeling they did, or as we did when we saw them play versus HGO. First map definitely should have been theirs. And from there on out, it could be a very different scenario altogether. And for VP to beat Na'Vi, for most teams to beat Na'Vi, really, with the way they're playing right now, not necessarily something you'd expect.
Apart from Tyloo, of course, because everyone expected that one.
That goes without saying.
Completely normal. Let's move over to Renegades, though. Of course, the Australian team with a bit of spice from a couple more continents than that. And we do. Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, of course, right? We don't have a UK player in there, but maybe we can give that some time.
Eventually.
I'm doubtful. Either way, before we jump into this, let's have a quick look at an interview for Renegades.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with Jacob from Renegades. All right, tell me what you're thinking going into this Virtus.pro matchup. Your tournament life is on the line.
Yeah, excited to play Virtus.pro again. Been a long time since I played them last time. Both of us is like kinda shaky at the moment, so it depends which team will show up. Hopefully us.
And let's talk about your tournament so far. You went down 0-2, but yesterday clawed back a victory and dug in very deep against Gambit to stay in the competition.
Yeah, I don't know what is happening in the early tournaments, like in the beginning of it. Super sloppy. And I don't know what's happening in the beginning. Surely we'll come back. We did this last time as well, 0-2. And I will do it again, 3-2.
And Jacob, I've spoken to some of your teammates about this, but I'd like to get your own opinion as well, because the question concerns you specifically. Last StarSeries was your first LAN tournament with the Renegades. This is now another opportunity to kind of repeat your first time with them. Hopefully, it's going to go better. What's going to be different? And also, how are you feeling at this point in terms of fitting in to the lineup?
Well, obviously, now we have I've played with them for 3 months or something, so I know all the situations, all the positions, all that stuff. So obviously we are coming in more prepared than last time. So hopefully that will bring us deeper in the tournament.
And final question as well, with regards to your in-game leader, Nifty, and also the departure of Casada, someone like yourself who's played for so long, how have you been dealing with those things? A young leader and also your most recent coach leaving.
Well, obviously, directly before a tournament, losing our coach is pretty rough. But yeah, Nifty is a young leader. He's trying to gain a lot of experience, and he will. He's a great leader. So yeah, I think we're going to be fine.
Well, I'm sure all the guys on your team are going to be benefiting from your experience as well as everybody else's around them. Best of luck, Jacob.
Thank you very much.
The boys are back in town and they're looking to get a victory here to secure their spot in a 2-2 matchup against VP. But I really don't know where to lean on this one, right? We have two, I wouldn't even call inconsistent rosters. VP, of course, are, but Renegades, I mean, coming into this event, they look good, but started off with just a humiliating loss versus Godsend. And yes, they've come back from that in some sense, but the only victory we've seen versus Gambit, who 0-3'd out of the tournament.
That's very true. I guess, to be fair to Renegades, Godsend have looked much better than most of us expected in this tournament. They're sitting at, I think, 2-2 or 2-1.
Yeah, they just got their win versus Tyloo.
Exactly. So they're doing pretty well for themselves in all honesty. So maybe not put too much weight into that. And as for the map veto, not surprising to see Virtus.pro go with Train. It's been their go-to pick for the better part of the tournament. It's also a map they play a ton. It's also a map that Renegades haven't really shined on by any means. So far. And for them to go with Inferno, again, that makes sense. They had an excellent showing versus, I want to say, they didn't have an excellent showing with this. I'm trying to think about the first loss they had now. So far in the
so
past.
many games here.
Yeah, no. In any case, again, very, very familiar territory for, I want to say Hellraisers.
I'm pretty sure, right? Because no, Renegades? Yeah, no, I don't know. Let's move on from that one.
In any case, Inferno, end all be all.
Yes, it was Hellraiser, 16-9. Renegades took the win.
And that was the one map we figured like, oh, that's a given. Hellraiser's just going to win. They're so good on it.
Oh, of course,
and Renegades obviously just smashed them to bits and pieces. Both teams going with confident picks. From the kind of results they've had so far in the tournament. Obviously, there's a limit to how much success you could have had throughout the tournament when you're 1 and 2. But I think we've seen the best out of VP on train, at least for the better part, versus AGO. And the same thing goes for their match versus Gambit. Even though it goes into overtime, they still went out, and that's really what they have to show for. Renegades as well. Great match versus Hellraisers. The problem is when you get into a third map, that's when it starts looking a bit lackluster for both sides.
Yeah, right. They got 16-1 on train by Hellraisers, who aren't exactly like a trained team by any means. You know, it's not a pocket pit for Hellraisers by any sense of the word. And that's a surprise as well, because Renegades coming into last StarSeries, where again, like as said in the interview, Jacob, his first LAN event with this team, they actually look quite good on train, to be honest. And now they've really fallen off on that map. So it's kind of, I want to lean towards Renegades here, but it's really difficult to, knowing how like on and off they've been this event. It just seems like, map to map, they'll get a really good win and then they'll just get crushed. And there's no consistency there.
Yeah, no consistency at all. And you can tell, right, they've been taking themselves to overtimes versus Mouse Sports, which is pretty good. They've beaten FaZe, but they've lost to Tai Lu, lost to Optic, and lost to Hellraisers in pretty convincing manners.
Yeah.
Even though like their win rate it's better than VP's, you can't really take that into account when you're looking at VP. America. That's just very different or unique team in that sense, where that doesn't really apply to them as much. So going into the first match, this does feel like it's going to be a 3-mapper of a series where you have rather one-sided affairs really on the respective map picks for the teams. I think if anything, Renegades would be able to put up a bit of a better fight on train than what they've done, obviously, leading up to this. Not that it's a bar set very high, but I do think that they do have the capabilities to actually be really well. And we have to consider the fact that when they got smashed 6-1 by Hellraisers, JK has got 1 frag the entire time. And that was the very last frag Renegades got in the entire match. So he could have very easily gone 0-0 and 16, or 17 it was, throughout that match. That was his statistically worst game of his career, and he's been around for a while, so that's saying something.
Yeah.
And he's usually one of the leading forces, especially after Jacob joined the team. He's been doing really, really well for himself. He's been playing better and better, so that's definitely an anomaly, and obviously you're not going to get far with one of your star players just actually being a non-factor. Like, you often talk about how people can be quiet and whatnot. He actually didn't do anything at all.
Yeah. I mean, this is what we were talking about. We said, okay, for Renegades to find wins here in Kiev, we need Nifty to step up, we need Jacob to step up, and we need one plus Australian. Okay? Yeah. That seems to be like the formula for success for Renegades. And JKS, arguably, in my opinion, I think you would agree to say the best Aussie on the team. Yeah. At least in terms of
best
performance.
Australian player, just...
Yeah.
Full stop.
A sponge, of course.
Well, obviously, but we're taking active players, not the god himself.
No, that would be unfair. That would be unfair. It was actually quite funny because there was a photo on Twitter of Chad sitting with like the Renegades guys doing some little prep before their first game where they got 6 rounds in 2
little
maps.
Powwow.
Yeah. So maybe Chad shouldn't be giving them any more advice.
I can tell you now that Chad hasn't been near any of the Renegades players while we were sitting in the green room, because Chad had to go work while Renegades had to do their own thing, but they didn't actually get in contact with each other all that much. So maybe they haven't been tainted by Chad.
There's always time.
There is always time. If you see Chad running onto the stage here, I would put out a couple of warning lights, maybe do like a tactical timeout, getting removed from the area, and hopefully you'll have time to cleanse yourself for the remaining like 20 seconds of the timeout. Maybe even invest 2 timeouts into it.
I mean, well, I'm
just to get that beaver smell off you.
That's important, right? We are in Kiev after all. You said a second ago, these are 2 teams of or you said Renegades have the capability of taking this victory. And I feel like that applies to both these teams here. These are 2 teams where you have so much like experience on Virtus.pro in terms of like leading and the oldest roster. Yeah, everything. Like VP have everything. They have firepower, they have experience, they have tactics, but it's just like, can they show them?
It's so curious though when you think about it. Like, if you think about the dip in form from the various players, obviously Posh has been doing remarkably well for himself, considering how poorly it's gone for the rest of the teams. But people like Bialy, again, who's been amongst the top 20 players in the world, Snacks has been a top 5 player in the world for God knows how long. How the mighty have fallen in that sense, and how rapidly as well, because sure, they've been up and down, but they don't really seem to. They have the lowest of lows in terms of like how far down into the cellar they can go, and how far they can sink, which is rather incredible for somebody who was so consistently good for that long of a time.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to find an answer as to why that has happened.
One thing I would say is VP have looked very, very comfortable in the sense of they all seem to be smiling coming into all these games. You know, we saw Snax' interview with Paula just yesterday. He was having a bit of a joke around on the camera as well. I mean, VP definitely look happy in this event, but
they do it before the games. That's important to know. I ran past a VP player talking to Cuban in between maps. I want to say it was after the AGO game on day one, where they've lost 16-14 right on train after being up 14-6. Definitely not a lot of happy tones there. Heard a lot of screaming about Molotovs and whatnot. Yeah. And I also saw Papa Biceps outside of the venue on day 2. It didn't look necessarily too happy, even though they were about to beat Gambit 2-0. But you know, at least they're coming in with the new smiles and refreshed. And we've seen from Snax, you know, he's not worried at all. We saw that in the interview he did with Paula. Couldn't be more confident.
Exactly. You know, sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. Famous quote. Now I'm going to hit you with the hot topic of this event. Ooh. Everyone's favorite thing, predictions.
Love them.
Where are you leading?
I'm actually going to side with Renegades for this one. But I'm going to give it a 3-mapper. I'm going to give...
Even for cash? Even for cash?
Yeah, exactly. Get it right.
Sorry.
Cash. But no, I see Virtus.pro having a good opportunity to take a train here. Even though they haven't necessarily gotten more wins than losses so far at this event, I do feel that's where we've seen them play anywhere near, you know, Virtus.pro level. Yeah, if that makes sense, or where we expect it to be. And I foresee that kind of being the case as well as we go further. They're just going to get more and more of a feel for it during tournament play. This is going to be the 4th time, I want to say, they play train. So it's been a consistent factor in their matches as well. And that's always nice to have that kind of familiarity. For Renegades, they obviously didn't show enough on their one outing of it versus Hellraisers. I have no doubt they're going to do better for themselves. JKS has definitely got a much better game, and they will be able to put up a fight. But I think in the long run, Virtus.pro should be able to eke this one out. And then coming back to Inferno, we should see Renegade strike back. Yeah,
the fact that Renegade just took this map off of Hellraisers just yesterday as well just leans so heavily in favour for me thinking that is going to be their map, because Hellraisers is a very good team on Inferno, and although they've had shaky results here in Kiev, obviously just been eliminated, I'm pretty sure, by NRG 1-2. So
Energy finally living up to what we've seen for the better part of 4 months.
Where did that come from? I'm impressed, but let's see if they can keep it up. However, that is another game. We do have Train here for the first map of this best of 3, and VP winning the knife round. Bialy with 4 kills. He loves a good stab.
Loves a good stabbing, and that's also going to allow them to choose sides. So it remains to be seen what they actually opt to go for, though. If they want to start on the T side, we've seen a couple of teams do that, not too much success, and it seems like VP have learned as well as they're going to be opting for the CT side.
Yeah, I'm excited here. I'm going in with no expectations. I will admit I'm leaning the way of Renegades for the series, but as you said, you know, I'm
Train seems like
agreeing
with
the 3 map.
But yeah, it's going to be the best shot I think VP has to start this off. I see it's going to be a really tough time for them if they actually drop Train, because I think they're going to have issues on both the 2 remaining maps. So even if they look into a win on Inferno, going into a 3rd, I think that should still be plenty of opportunities for Renegades to close it out.
That being said, I feel like this is a really good map pool for the series in the sense that, like, we have, of course, we've casted here together a lot of series that have had some really one-sided games and then like one close game. Look at our
weird
opening
amount
match,
of it actually.
Right?
Yeah,
like you'll get like Vici 16-1 SK, lose 16-40 or lose in overtime. Sorry, and then
get 16-2 on Train.
16-2, yeah, right. So it's, we get games like that, but I feel like this is the perfect series for
closer bouts,
or maybe not even stomps, but more like, I can convincingly say this team is better at this map, this team is better at this map, and then the 3rd map I really don't know. Like I think Renegade should take it, but you know, it's not like VP can't get a victory on cash. Like
no, definitely
not at all. So I think we do have a really fair and good map pool here, as whereas on some of the other games we've seen some odd matches. But hey, anything can happen here in Kiev.
Yeah, no. Again, just anything can happen in CS as of right now. Like teams have been so inconsistent. Not just necessarily playing up to the level or standard that they should be. So talking to, I guess, an unnamed coach who I mentioned the fact that when we were talking about the I guess current state of CS and how Astralis were looking so dominant, he was saying to me that, well, this is more a case of everyone else just playing way below way below their level, and Astralis just kind of doing their thing and actually living up to the potential they have. They're not necessarily playing the greatest Counter-Strike of all time. They're just doing fundamentally sound things, and because everyone else is so much worse, that obviously puts a massive gap in between them, and it looks rather one-sided, which it has been, but it is kind of odd to see how so many teams just as a collective have fallen through the cracks and started playing some I guess, curious CS at times.
I'd say a lot of that has been down to roster changes as well, but at least we have two teams that are pretty standard with their rosters. We have the Golden Four plus Mihu, and Renegades, who've held this roster since exactly the last StarSeries. So let's jump into this one and see what we're going to have unfold. It's Renegades on the T side of Train, the map pick of VP as they set themselves towards the B site. We've got Bialy and Pasha down there in the wings waiting. And actually a rotation coming through from Neo. No contact on the A site from VP has allowed them to move a player into position. This is a heavy CT setup.
This is the same pistol round that Renegades did versus Hellraisers as well, though. This time, Bondi's not there to destroy them, and Nifty's going to find a return kill onto Pasha. Bomb's going to go down as well. They don't have a Molotov anymore, so no possible shenanigans towards higher in that afterplant scenario.
The smoke hit on Mihu means this retake's actually going to be a little weight lifted off their shoulders. The time isn't to play against, but JKS is. He's already found 3, and Nifty's going to clean up with a couple as well. Renegades off to a good start, and JKS especially, like we said coming into this game, he is a player we need to see off to a good start after finding 1 kill on this exact map up against Hellraisers.
Yeah, not just 1 kill in the pistol round, the entire match.
The entire match.
So he's already doing much better for himself, and a crucial point of time to do it on as well. Getting that, because initially it looks like it's a pretty decent round for Virtus.pro. They managed to actually trade somewhat equally. Allow for rotations to come in before the bomb has gotten down, and Renegades have gotten into too good of afterplan positions, but JKS finding that second frag on the rotating player in from Virtus.pro is just too much. But double scout setup, that's dangerous as hell on a map like Train. So long distances, you have so many chances to actually get a tag off on VP, and obviously that's going to do wonders for the ZZs and P250s on the other VP members.
That being said, though, we've got 4 rifles for Renegades, so that's quite a good counter considering the buy from VP. It's not like we have Mac 10s that are going to struggle to duel up against the scouts, and these 2 scouted players don't have armor, so going to be pretty weak targets. They need to find headshots here, but even if not, as you said, pistols are lethal. Renegades with a slow T-side approach to this round. They do have a little more map control, though, not fully setting up towards B, with players in the T-spawn watching the Ivy push, and guys up in main. Renegades are going to be setting B smokes down, but this is only a fake at the moment, at least, unless the bomb comes to join them, which I'm doubtful. As you can see, that's going to draw a rotation from VP, who already had 3 players on the site, a 4th considering it, but Neo won't go for the wraparound because now Renegades are showing presence up on A. Snacks is about to realize that, and 4x3, Az are going to run right past Snacks, focused on above. Nifty annoyed why his teammate got his back turned, and there it is. At least Az trades it back. Renegades with control on the site, and VP now rotating in, but the smokes are down and they're cordoned out. A push through for me, who might save the day, and Neo hits a shot with the scout. Things are looking up for VP, but as soon as they do, Renegades crush back.
There we have it. A 2-to-1 situation right now. Bomb not going to get picked up just yet. Neo's actually going to get the double tag onto Jacob. JKS, though, pretty healthy still. Neo can't really say the same for him. The benefit here is that JKS is going to be able to take 2 hits unless Neo manages to connect with a headshot. That might be all the difference in the world. Gets the bomb plant down as well. Gotten into a pretty decent afterplant position as well. He can still see the bomb, obviously, from connector if he swings out wide. Neo, no kit. No, actually does have a kit. Oh, spots.
Oh, no. He knows.
He knows.
That was a bit scary.
That was very scary, honestly.
4 rifles for Renegades, and they lose 4 players as well, so VB certainly putting up a fight, a nice push through the smoke from Mihu, and of course the scouts actually have a hell of a lot of effect. With that bomb down in the open as well, for a second it looked like Neo could have won the clutch because it was only 10 seconds on the clock, but luckily enough it is saved by JKS nonetheless.
JKS, yeah, getting off to a hot start in this game, 5 frags already. It's definitely what you'd like to see. Much needed for Renegades as well. I guess the benefit for Renegades here, like, yeah, they lose a lot of weaponry and so on in that previous round, but Virtus.pro did fully commit into it with double scouts and whatnot. So still some leeway here. bit of a cushion, but Virtus.pro right now stacking up in yard, very close to team main as well. They have one flash on Neo as well, so this is going to be a pop flash into main. There we go.
That's awkward. You still are not even going to hit a shot. Now Renegades, their attention's diverted. The push through from Jacob. He finds 3 on the AK. Nice spray transfer there. VP being whittled down as you would expect in this round after some early presence shown. And yeah, it's going to be as clean as Renegades' mind. Couple of casualties there, but they save all 3 of the AKs in that round, so it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, you still was a bit just kind of the sacrificial lamb in that in that scenario. Gets a ton of information. Obviously, spots at least 3 players from VP pushing into A main. That allows for Jacob to push out a pop and get obviously a much better trade for it. Long term. The fact that he goes down afterwards, I think you can live with perfectly fine. As you said, 3 players staying alive, so your economy is still growing on the side of Renegades to a certain extent. But yeah, we're going to have the first buy round coming in from VP, and they're not going to have the money to actually opt in for an op. And we saw the op actually being a pretty crucial part for them on both sides really versus HGO at least. Even though they didn't have the same kind of success of actually capitalize off of it on the CT side, but Pasha, Snacks getting those ops up. Definitely something that is a vital part of them. I mean, Virtus.pro in the past have even been the team that could easily just swing out 3 ops if they felt like it on the CT side of chain, just because teams doesn't necessarily know how to deal with it properly. You only have so many smokes and whatnot, right, to cut these operas off. So that might be a bit of an issue for them. They don't have the world of utility either. We'll see how this pans out. See whether Renegades might slow play it in order to dry the Polish squad out.
I like how they went for the pause, though. That's one thing that is interesting to me. VP said, at least coming into this game, they've got plans, or Neo specifically said, they've got plans. They're ready for this matchup, and I assume they expected the veto to go like this. So already showing the fact that they stacked on the pistol round to counter Renegades, pistol round that you said they showed against Hellraisers. VP may have at least got a bit of a read on Renegades here, and that pause could have assisted to it. However, for now, Renegades have just got a default, so nothing to read for VP. They're just trying to gain map control. Seeing VP very committed to playing the double B bomb site, which is something that a lot of teams have opted to play against so far here in StarSeries. Been seeing a lot of solo B setups, a lot of retakes, which is to be expected on train, of course.
For now, though, Renegades run out utility, so it's going to take a little bit of damage. Nothing really too scary, but they have put on initial pressure over towards Ivy. Hasn't really drawn that much of attention from Virtus.pro, actually, which is surprising compared to what you've seen from a lot of the other teams playing train so far. Whenever they run into a lot of utility, they would rotate at least one player off of yard. You'd see somebody playing at least from connector, not that committed towards the inner bomb site. But for Virtus.pro, that's going to be the correct choice to make as well.
Well, the entry's coming in. 20 seconds on the clock, and time is ticking as every second goes down. Bialy trying to defend it. He's alone, though. JK is going to dive in, and Renegade's winning every single duel. VP, only 2 players left up, and in an instant, this round is over. There's no way they can win this. No kits, no utility, and Renegade still with a heavy man advantage despite the kill found from Mihu that Ustilo will try and counter by getting aggressive. Doesn't want to drop off the spools, but he will go down. Mihu at least trying to make this one count.
Just look at the rotation here from Jacob. This is interesting. Yeah, JKS doesn't really have that much HP, and he was the only player on the inner bomb site. Aza is going to make the rotation in. It seems like Jacob kind of expected VP to save much earlier than what they did. I mean, over the long term, he's going to be correct about it too, but that could have very easily gotten scary. Yeah, Michu's not going to be understanding what the hell is going on there. Why is Jacob in Ivy?
See, it's a very clever play because it's so common that once you see B takes go so well, like Renegades ran in, they got 3 kills in about 5 seconds. It's very common that the VP players will just run down Ivy and save. Like that's the most common save spot when the B site is taken by the Ts.
It's just a little bit scary because you do end up in these awkward situations where JKS, because Azra has also gone on a bit of a rotate, he's going to be the backstabber, the worker really for them in that round. So if JKS goes down and, Virtus.pro don't run into any sort of resistance. Maybe they just go for the Hail Mary play where it's just like, I'm just going to hold the defuse. I'm just going to go for it.
I feel like if you do
Virtus.pro or Renegades lose their round by having 2 players on the complete opposite sides of where the bomb is planted, that just seems weird, right?
I feel like if you want to go for that, if you're Renegades and send those 2 flanks round, you've got to make sure that guys on the site don't go too aggressive after those initial kills, right? Don't allow VP an opportunity. He's got 4 frags in that round, and he's also kicked it off here. But Renegades, they spotted that 1 rifle. They darted down towards B, but do they look at the heaven? Because Pasha Biceps looking to turn this round upside down from the top. He does get a shot off onto Jacob, dropping the bomb. Now VP rotating in. We still have these couple of rifles retrieved. Mihu brought up in this round. Neo's taking an AK off a body, and he's doing damage with it as well. Yusilo trying to save the day alone. He's found 2 frags, trying to isolate Pasha, but he doesn't see him get down the ramp. And a rifle retrieved will catch Yusilo off guard.
Yeah.
VP
doing it. Starts off the round by going aggressive in Ivy with the one weapon they had. Mihu being set up by a teammate's pop flash as well. That's how they find the first frag. That's how they retrieve the AK as well to start things off. But yeah, definitely not expecting the double inner setup there. Probably because of the aggression. It's like, okay, they've already committed 2 people towards Ivy. We haven't necessarily seen that much of a focus on that area of the map up to this point. So they probably feel like it's safe to assume that there's going to be maximum 1 player on the inner bomb side, especially with how aggressive he was playing. Luckily, though, for VP, Pasha was in the right place at the right time, and that's painful.
Yeah.
Very well done by VP there. Just demolishing Nifty completely. He's still just going to get an answer back, and Aza, nearly takes out Miku with 9 HP, but he's going to stay alive long enough to take out Jacob, and a pretty successful anti-eco at that for Virtus.pro. Only Neo going down.
Mihu is gaming today. He's been doing a lot of damage already, up to 8 kills. With only 2 rounds for VP, that's pretty good.
We'll say, though, like fair few of them, he did get 4 in the inner take that ended up just being a save.
Yeah. Taking into account, though...
or 3, yeah.
The 4 he got in the saving round, where he eventually went down to that Ivy flank.
That does make an impact on the economy.
Yeah, that's why we had the eco for Renegades. Of course they can buy up here, but they had to eco because they lost 4 guns in the rifle round they won. But faster play here from Azza. Nice opening kill coming through. Renegades do find contact, and Nifty's dropped a man with the AWP as well. So again, we've got a similar start to this first buy run from Renegades. A couple of quick openers, and let's see how VP react.
React they're going to have to do at least. For now, Neo posted up with the task of holding off main, but he also needs to be worried about Pop Dog, obviously. Smokes are going to eventually fade, and I think that's what Renegades are sitting and holding back for, really. No need for them to run through a smoke and just lose the 2-man advantage they've already created for themselves. At this point, I feel like most of the time you would be pretty safe to go towards the inner bomb site, which is what Renegades have planned. But VP, they're going for the next level play. They're banking everything on this, and this is so smart to do. You don't see enough teams do it really, where they just stack up on one bomb site. If they go there, you have the best opportunity to actually survive and get the round back. But if you don't, then you're just going to hold on to 3 rifles.
Oh, Neo, he's taken down 2 rifles, dropping them on the ramp. This triple setup is doing absolute work against Renegades, and they've spotted it and just tucked tail. Bomb picked up, taken back down through the Pop Dog. VP going to have to rotate, but Renegades will be into the A site before. Still a smoke left for the post plant as well on Azza, but VP don't want to rotate through the connector. Instead, they go and push in through CT. Renegades with an open plant. JKS sat for it. Azza going to go deep in Ivy, and I like this position as well. It's not like Renegades really have a crossfire, but Azza has a nice cut off as VP push in through Old Bomb, and they actually won't spot him because he's fallen back a little more passive.
Yeah, bit of an off angle for the Montreal, and that's going to be hard for Neo to actually clear out.
Nice.
There you go. And JKS doesn't really need to commit to this at all. He can let Azza be the point man for the rest of the after plant in this kind of a situation. Bialy's figured out that there's no real hope of doing this, even though he has a diffuse kit. Away from removing them. JKS actually going to go on the hunt. You might run into Bialy. Oh, the second Bialy looks to pick up the op. It's really unfortunate timing for VP. So instead of actually having a weapon with full utility actually as well, being brought into the next round, it's going to be nothing. But
this is so VP, this buy.
Yeah, double op, UMPs, FAMASs. But we talked about it. Double op was essential for them. That's how they brought it back, or actually got to OT versus HGO, or they got the rounds initially, right?
Yeah.
And that's might have to be the case as well. I think that they've definitely been closer so far on the CT side in this game, but why not give it a go?
Why not? Nifty, though. Found the early pick in the previous round, looks to do the same, and he does find success again. Neo just straight up dropped.
Very strange decision from Neo, in all honesty. Like, no flash in towards it. You haven't been close enough to necessarily hear if somebody's dropped down. You haven't had any real control over Pop Dog initially, so that is definitely just venturing into the wilderness and hoping for the best. And I feel like in very few scenarios you're going to find a T-side just ignoring Pop Dog completely. So could have taken some precautions there, throwing in one flash or just putting down one smoke before you actually move into it. That's all it takes, and that's definitely worthwhile your life.
Well, are VP doing it again? Look at this. We've already got another rotate coming through. We've got
Why
a man
not?
in the connector. Close pop for that flank rotation on Mihu. It's a very good setup from VP, given the fact that Renegades are hitting B, and that's a failed smoke. That's a big old whiff right there.
That means that they might actually not commit to this at all.
And that would probably be better for them, to be honest. That failed smoke might have just saved them the round, because they would have walked into another stack from VP.
And they're just waiting it out. Meanwhile, Ustilo, well, I was about to say Ustilo's out in yard, but Mihu's going to find him. And well, trade's going in the way in favor of VP. Jakim, Soulman alive, really. He's going to go for the side plant, but he's going to get found by Snacks.
Big round from Bialy as well, being able to lock down Renegades one by one.
Yep.
Flashed up into the ramp, gets a kill, and then follows up to the player on Heaven as well.
Even gets a double fist bump there from Mihu.
Oof.
That's how well he was doing. But yeah, no, that looked like a pretty good round. As you said, like the bungled smoke, that could have been the saving grace for Renegades. They allow for Ustilo, they take more time. Ustilo goes out and out into yard. Just kind of an awkward timing for him to get caught out by Mihu.
Yeah.
If he's half a second further ahead in time and that's started his flank a little bit sooner, he would have been past the train, could have gotten in into connector and so on, and that would have been the end of VP.
It just seemed indecisive from Renegades. They had 30 seconds left when those smokes were going over. They needed to make a choice. Like if they were going to commit towards B off the back of the failed smoke, then do it. If you're going to go A, go A. Don't sit around, because VP, as you can see, they just took control, flashed up into the ramp and found all those kills, and late delayed peaks from Renegades do cost them. Now they're on pistols, and Bialy again, field day on B. 2 frags coming through. The bomb is going to be late into the site considering it's coming through Heaven, but VP just too late to stop it. So the plant should be coming through fine for Renegades, although this post-plant, this is going to be almost impossible. Pasha lining up shots. Neo's found a kill, and Mihu will join the party. VP with a clean retake, but that's a full eco from Renegades, only a couple of P250s, so a bomb plant and a kill, can't really turn your nose up at that.
Yeah, it's great, especially considering the fact that they've just been reset as well, so that's definitely needed. It's going to allow you to get an okay buy-in. They're actually going to pause. Maybe you want to talk about whether or not they want to invest Ustilo, as you can see, or he's still sitting at 4.1k. Still have Nifty sitting at 5.7, so he can get an op. They can still get some decent utility on Jakim and so forth. So yeah, they can definitely go for it, and I think that's them just trying to figure out what they want to do, and also the fact that whenever they've gone slow, whenever they've gotten a man advantage, you've seen VP kind of go for gamble stacks.
Yeah.
And Renegades, if they're going to say to themselves, like, okay, every time we have this advantage, they stack on the B bomb side, so we're just going to focus on yard from now on. If that's going to be their play, or if they just want to speed up the tempo a little bit, even after they get that opening pick.
Well, that's the thing about the gamble stacks on this map, right? It's so much easier to gamble stack on B, because especially if you have 3 players there are 2 positions that T's come from, upper and lower. If you go towards A, they can push pop, they can come Ivy, and they can come through main. So it's a lot more for VP to hold, and if they have 3 players on B, they can focus 2 of them on one spot.
Yeah, that's definitely true, and that's probably something that plays into the heads of Renegades as well. They're going to be aware of that. It remains to be seen how they respond. For now, it's going to be more pressure towards Ivy, though. Nifty with that up. Seen a couple of cheeky triple peaks. They're just going to go for the shot through the smoke as well. Mihu's, well, he's on the other side. He's going to find Jacob through the smoke. He might be able to find slow. Definitely didn't see that coming.
I mean, that is a risky play right there. He not only had the bomb push through alone with Nifty still cut off behind the smoke. If Ustilo dies there, that's a massive mistake.
Lobs to Ustilo. Spares no one.
The crustacean station. JKS as well. He's found a kill.
Bialy actually is somewhat surprisingly deciding to go aggressive. Like, fair enough, you are at, I guess, equal numbers. That usually favors or almost always favors the T side. But might have been a little bit early, a bit eager to get things going with the aggression on the inner bomb site. And that obviously makes it a whole lot worse for VP. But now we do see that 3-man alive scenario for VP, and it's going to be interesting to see if they eventually tries to focus up towards one of the bomb sites and actually stack it. But they do have an AWP as well. That does allow them to cover a lot more ground, and that might be why we're not seeing the full rotation.
Oh, that smoke's big, though. It cuts Snacks off. He had a really good sight line with the AWP. Does have to swap out to a rifle instead, but this higher position from Neo could stop everything. They're so open. He gets tagged by Nifty, and Ustilo will finish off the job. Pasha maybe pushing in through this connector smoke, and he does. Footsteps made, though. They should know he's here. No scope hits, and he goes in for more, but Ustilo trades quickly. Now it is just Snacks. The original player smoked off out of this round, wants to give it a second attempt, but Renegades, a 2-man advantage and the bomb down, everything playing up against the lone pole. He's going to have to fall back.
Yeah, trying to hold on to that AWP and Ivy, and I guess luckily for them, Renegades doesn't really have too much of an economy built up, so yeah, sure, they could they could go for it. They could try to hunt Snacks down. That would be a pretty big get, all things considered, because VP are not necessarily in a great state economically either. But VP, if they're thinking for themselves long term, they won't want to let Snacksy hold on to it. And it seems like it's going to be A-OK. It's all going to be fine.
For Renegades T-side, though, let's look at the score. 6-4. It's pretty good so far. VP's money is crunched.
JKS top fragging.
Yeah, always an improvement.
Ooh, everything going the way of Renegades in that sense. That's feel good for them as well to get off to a bit of a better start than what they had versus. Well, they didn't have a good start, finish, or middle, for that matter, really, versus Hellraisers. But at least here they started off with the pistol round, won the first 4. That is going to give you more of a confidence booster that you can actually do something later into the game as well.
VP, they switched it up now. Only one man on B. Bialy takes quick pop control, so again we have that ability to rotate up the ladder, but Renegades, I'm sure, have that backline covered. The AWP flashed out. Pasha committing to the peak for quite a long time there, and he's going to get tagged.
Down to 5 HP, and he's alone on the big bomb set.
That was scary.
Right. Being a bit of a escape artist right there, jumping above the fire and flames. Doesn't go down. But you could tell, in any case, for any sort of rotation, they don't necessarily have the greatest of weaponry to do much with Renegades' push. Like the UMP on Neo obviously is going to be nice as he's posted up on the inner bomb side, and playing close up like Mihu's doing now is going to buy people time. Still gives away his position though, and Az is going to be quick to respond. Does take a dink though, but it's not going to be too worrisome as of right now. Bialy, second set of pop, he's going to push forward, and JKS apparently has ladder aim on point. It's going to be on Snacks. The whole thing's back, and it does a good job of it too, but third man up is going to be too much for him. As Nifty responds, finally Neo with that UMP, not great on long range, and there you see the issue with it. It's all left down to Pasha. The guy who took initial contact went down to 5 HP. He's going to have to deal with 3 angry Australians, well, 2, and then I guess honorary Australian and Nifty.
Yeah. At this point, Nifty is getting the papers, I think.
Yeah,
he is
exactly.
becoming one. He could join this team, and he could join this country, and I don't think anyone would complain.
I was about to say, like, do you get knighted? Like, you don't get knighted,
what do you
right?
get
Like
in
for
Australia?
citizenship. That's not what you do. But like, what's the term for that when you're given like an honorary citizenship?
I don't know. Maybe he could like rescue a baby from like a falling building.
It would have to be
in
like
Paris.
a kangaroo or a koala or something,
Yeah,
right?
A drop bear.
A drop it. Oh yeah, those are lethal.
Well, Renegades, a very, very good start. Nice standard fake on that B site. They've shown that before. A couple of smokes over, this time not whiffed. The VP committed to that 2-man B setup. I think, obviously, a big kill there was Renegades actually being able to get that kill and pop. JKS somehow finding the magical flying shot.
Yeah, on Bialy. Bialy did get kind of trapped in, though. He couldn't do anything but push forward. But yeah, I think in a normal circumstance, he would have been completely fine if Renegades have to trade that 1-for-1. So JKS going down initially, but the guy following up is able to respond. I also think Az's opening frag onto Mihu plays a massive part of it. Allows him to get forward into yard by running up Olaf, and also put a lot of pressure onto Snacks.
Oh, it's pistols for VP with 1 rifle,
Yeah.
that being the AWP. Snacks, the man, the myth, the legend. He is getting aggressive in Pop Dog. This could be dangerous because, again, it's only going to take a few bullets from this rifle to just completely tear him apart.
It's a game of inches right now. He sneaks a little bit more forward. That's going to be a super easy kill for Jacob. Instead, going to give the position. Nobody actually holding up behind here as well. This is the kind of moment where Snacks just ends up behind people.
Yeah, and
He just finds the timing.
a cheeky stab in the back.
Yeah. And Jacob might be thinking the same thing, so he goes back to hold off Pop. It's already kind of guided JKS into a safer position. But Snacks doesn't really move, but the one guy who is moving, that's Posh, and he's kind of aggressive to find JKS, but yeah, result of that, Snacks thinks he can push forward. That's not going to be the case either.
Yeah, clearly expecting some kind of B play after that pick from Pasha down on ramp. So pushing up, I feel like unnecessary. But again, when they were pistols, so man advantage doesn't really have the same effect in these kind of rounds. VP, however, they've stacked up correctly once again, and Ustillo is not going to expect these positions. Look at the frags coming through. Pasha with the AWP again, finding his second kill, and Mihu's just doubled on the USP. Not even dead yet. He's found himself an AWP to play with, and it's a lone Norwegian with 30 seconds left to find the clutch. 2 AWPs, 2 CTs, and not a lot of hope, but Jacob finds the first, looking for the angle to Mihu, but he does reposition. Makes him chase him down. He knows he has the time playing against him, so Jacob has got to get this bomb and got to get the plant. Mihu instead going down old bomb, and Jacob, he expects it. Molotov can come through here, but what does he commit to? The peak or the plant? It will be the peak, and he finds the frag. 4 kills there. Renegades, when it comes down to the pistol rounds for VP, they are getting very, very close.
Getting very close indeed, and there's this complete cluster. Again, it's off the back of Virtus.pro just making a good call, a good read in terms of where they want to stack towards the bomb site. But the issue for them is that they're getting close, but not close enough at this point. 4 rounds on the CT side. It does make you feel a bit it does make you feel a bit worried for them, all things considered. But I guess, to be fair, they didn't have the greatest of CT sides, if I recall correctly, versus HGO either. It was T side where they did most of the work. So it's not over by any means, but well,
this is certainly like an improvement from Renegades up against Hellraisers.
Yeah, like
I don't think
by times infinity, right?
Well, technically times 8, but
well, if you multiply 0 by 8, or I guess
they got one round.
Yeah,
they got one round.
I was thinking about their
T side.
Their T side, yeah.
Fair enough. Mihu, he has opened up. Snacks is taking control with the shotgun here. Doesn't go for the AK, and I don't blame him. This is a lethal position for this kind of gun, and the second he rotates, he can just press G, grab that gun, reposition.
He's using that weapon quite a bit, especially on train, playing up close, either by main or now, opting to go for it in towards 5 stacks. Also bought a Zeus. So interested to see if that's going to be put into use. For now, though, same kind of recipe as before for Renegades. JKS and I guess what would have been Jacob pressuring towards Inner and Pop Dog, and the 3 other guys on Renegade's side setting up for Ivy.
They're very much switching up where they go for this fake, right? It's always faking B, but Renegades, they pushed main before, now they're pushing Ivy. It's not like they're going to remain...
easy to read.
Exactly. Keep VP on their toes, but look at this position from Neo. He's on top of the green train with his eyes focused down on this Ivy, and with all this utility coming through, he's going to know what's happening. The thing is, Renegades have run through a smoke, but Neo sprayed through and done damage. Not only that, but taken a kill to Azza, and the sneak through heaven is not going to work from JKS, so already Renegades at a massive disadvantage. VP know they've wrapped the CT spawn. It's already been called, but Nifty going to miss his follow-up shot, and that might just be the end of the round. 10 seconds left, and they are just going to finish him off. They don't want him to save the gun. Renegades, a bit of an awkward execute there, and doesn't help with the fact that Neo blindly sprays them down through smoke.
Very few executes work when you only survive with 2 players.
Yeah.
When you get to a bomb site. But as you said, at least Renegades are keeping it fresh. Like, they're making Virtus.pro thinking. They can't necessarily be sure as to what's happening, even though they're setting up with the same kind of a default, the same setup initially. As you said, one time they end up going out main, one time they've gone back to the B bomb site, and now they try B split through backline. So it's not a given that Virtus.pro could just simply think to themselves, like, okay, we've seen this snade, we've seen this setup, let's just stack here.
And none of this we saw from Renegades in their earlier game versus Hellraisers, but the difference is from VP is they're not really like playing aggressive. They're not trying to suffocate Renegades. Or if we looked at Hellraisers, they were constantly pushing up into T-Con, they were taking IV duels all the time. And yeah, okay, VP are looking pretty solid on the defense when they actually hold on to the sites, but it's not like they're trying to force frags. It's not like they're trying to take man advantages. It's just AWPs posted on angles, and if Renegades give them a kill, they'll take it every single time. But VP never seem to be the initiators.
And when you consider one of the rounds that kind of swung things back for VP, allowing them to get a couple of rounds on the board, was the round where Mihi was the only one with a saved weapon. They buy one flash, pop flash into Ivy. That sets everything off because Mihi finds the early frag with aggression. But they haven't necessarily gone back to it. Okay. I think the closest thing we've been is seeing either people playing inside of Pop Dog, which I wouldn't really call as or name as aggression. But then it's been like, Snacks eyeing up T-main, but that's about it.
Well, there we go. The contact made with the AWP once again. Pasha on the heaven position, only going to get one. He could have doubled down there, but he does finally. The issue is he gets overwhelmed. Good entries from Ustillo. He's into the B site, and Renegades are looking for their 9th. Aggression, of course, with this post-plant, and Snacks is going to get caught with the flashbang. Great work from Ustillo. 3 kills so far, and again we have this late lurk from JKS. It's been such a nuisance coming in through the backline. Mihu dead up on the train yard, and now it is just Neo. He may have made the long flank round, but it's unrealistic to expect him to win this round. They don't need to hunt him because, again, it's last, so he can't save in this. Doesn't see anyone on the bomb train, but
he's going to find Azza.
Yep, little crouch behind the train.
Cheeky. Well, the overall very solid half from Renegades, needless to be said. They managed to capitalize off the fact that they won the pistol round, obviously winning the first 4. Sure, there's some stuff they could tidy up, but again, I think that's more down to Virtus.pro playing the smart again, stacking up bomb sites when they realize they've been in disadvantageous positions. So yeah, definitely a lot of positives to bring out from the side of Renegades in that way. Going into the CT side, though, I guess nothing of what we saw versus Hellraisers was very impressive. So there's still a bit of a wild card, and we do know that VP have had successful T-sides already in this tournament.
Yeah. The scary thing is, again, here, as we always say after halftime, the pistol round, right? If Renegades find pistol and get those conversions, which seem to be likely at this point with the lead already in their favor, that could be a pretty dominant lead, like a 12-6 against VP before we even see rifles. And then, you just hit that spot with economy where it's like you win one rifle round and then you get 5 on the half out of it. You're up to 13, 14 maybe after anti-eco, and then VP have a buy. And like this is the reverse from what we saw with VP and AGO. They were 14-6 up.
Yeah.
And after that exact same situation, and then they lost the game.
And then it all crumbles, yeah. So I guess, only tip we have for Renegades, don't take a pause at 14-6.
There we go.
That's the way to go about it. But yeah, no, they do have some work to put in before they get to that point, though. Starting off with the pistol, which we are getting into. So you're still purchasing up with the ZZ. We're seeing more and more ZZs and pistol rounds now. It's going to have a smoke to back that up. And, no diffuse kit. Yeah, I was about to say, no diffuse kits on the side of Renegades. So they're just banking on being able to dome people's heads. But look at all the utility on the side of VP, though. Smoke 2 flashes on Neo, and smoke Molotov on Snacks.
This could be either of the two sites right now. Snacks is set up outside of A. We have Neo outside of B. I'm expecting the A play just because of the bomb's position, but it's far from a commitment.
I'm kind of expecting this to be like smokes out into yard with a couple of people prodding, but the bomb ending up on inner, Snacks holding onto his Molotov as long as possible, and then doing the classic thing from higher.
You can see VP are making lots of noise outside of B on purpose. They're running around. Usually, if they were going for the B play, they'd be sneaking it, trying to be quiet. But no, they want Renegades to think it's the B site. And we've got a double pop play as well, which only adds to the complications. Drop in from Bialy is not going to work out. And Ustillo, double headshot, trying to get the third, find some damage to Neo, and that will be more than enough. 10 points of health, and Renegades have shut down this round.
Very much so, as a finds Pasha as well. So we talked about utility on the side of VP. I mean, great for them. They still have it, but they've also lost 3 members. JK has gotten into a perfect position here as well. Doesn't need to commit to anyone. He can actually just let both of the VP players run down if they want to go down lower here. He's definitely going to see the nades coming through, and you're going to see rotations almost immediately. He's actually going to go aggressive. Oh,
well, hate
definitely,
to see it.
Yeah, whiffs an opportunity like no other. And again, that might actually force an over rotation. You see that Jacob with the quick rotation through Pop gets caught out by Snacksy. Now they've lost map control.
And Ustillo's 1 HP as well. Like, this is adding to the list. Luckily enough, Nifty will save the day with 1. And he knows Snacks wants to commit to the plant. He does get away with it. And that, I think that's Snacks just gambling. He goes, I can either try and win the round, or I can guarantee the $800. Because he had the smoke down.
Yeah, you're playing the probability. Like, what's the highest likelihood of happening? Are you getting a bomb plant down, or are you winning a 1v3 with very limited opportunities, really? Yeah, sure, Ustillo's tagged up, but that's about it. You have no idea where he is. You have no idea where JKS is. All you know is that there's one player close to you, and you have to make a choice. I think long-term, it's actually probably better. It is better for Virtus.pro because I don't see him winning that round.
And this is the buy from Renegades that now makes me question things, right? Because, of course, they've brought in a lot of SMGs, good for this round. But in the upcoming round where VP have rifles, if Renegades don't take too many casualties here, they will probably run a bonus round. Not necessarily a bad idea, but it gives VP a very good opportunity to come back into this map with those AKs. Because if Renegades have 3 SMGs and VP have 5 AKs, there's definite limitations there for the Aussies.
It's very true, but for now, it's going to go very well. Renegades, Nifty opening things up, finds Snacks. Also spots up Bialy, doesn't do any tag damage, but doesn't necessarily have to. JKS getting very aggressive, tapping away with that MP9. It's Neo to go down. He's also going to spot out more players. Jacob getting the front end or short end of the stick there. Going to build up for JKS to find another frag. Bialy with 2 solid deagle kills. Also one opening towards the inner bomb side, but he doesn't know that.
Yeah, the B site's completely empty. I don't know why Renegades haven't rotated anyone there. They've even got a man on the flank as well, which would further give them reason to do so.
Pasha's waiting for him, though. But you can tell, like, Renegades, I guess VPR, yeah, also expecting the logical choice of rotating towards inner to have happened by now. Oh, yeah. Bialy playing with fire.
If Ustilo walks up here and Pasha kills him, that could be a big, big blunder, and that will happen, it seems. Oh, Ustilo has his back turned. Pasha just trying to flank, and this should be the free kill for Pasha, you hope. There we go. Does come through. Now Renegades, 2 players left up, and VP have a couple of guns, but again, no armor. I expect Bialy to be using the Deagle here, and Renegades, they've split. They've gone for a 1-1 setup. They realize that they don't really want to give a bomb plant away. Nifty has dropped 1, but in the meantime, the B push has come through, and Azza hears the plant. He won't be able to stop it, because he doesn't want to run just in case Bialy's faking, but a bomb plant, however, shouldn't be the round for Bialy. Surely he won't find these last couple of Deegs.
He's got 2 already, though. Get spotted out. That's a little bit
not
quick
like
on the trigger, though. See, Nifty's going to sort things out. That was, honestly, in all honesty, a very poorly played round from Renegades. There's no real reason for you. You're up 2v3. Don't have to go aggressively like Ustilo did. Like, you've already cut off a significant part of the map. You're just taking unnecessary risks. I mean, you could also talk about whether or not it was necessary for JKS and Jacob to actually go, you know, to re-aggress constantly and eventually getting picked off as a result of it. Just, you're taking a lot of losses. And as you mentioned again, like if you bought up that many SMGs, knowing that your opponent is planted in the previous round, you're kind of just you're setting yourself up to getting a bonus round, and you're okay with that. This time they're not even getting that. They have to re-buy into it, but they're not necessarily getting the greatest of weaponry. And if it's gonna have an AWP, but you still have an MP9 and a UMP on there.
And that actually went the same for Renegades as it did in the first half. They won pistol, they lost 4 players in that second round when VP forced up. They seem to be very sloppy on these anti-forces. Renegades have to be careful, because VP now have rifles. Of course, double bomb planting. You have that AWP up for Pasha. And VP already showing presence down Ivy. Pasha's there with the AWP, but Bialy, they might just post him up and leave him in this position, at least to play later in the round, unless Pasha wants to join him. They do throw the smoke down, and yeah, Pasha's just leaving it. Bialy going to hold the position. He can just sit here basically for as long as he wants. Renegades are not going to challenge this, or they probably shouldn't, at least, because they don't know how many players are there for VP.
Right now, the obvious thing here, you know, judging from the radar, is the fact that JKS is so far removed from any of his teammates. He's going to have to stay alive for a small eternity, really, before he can get any sort of help if VP decides to push on towards the inner bomb site. For now, they're just using the utility he has. Still has 1 Molotov left, and that's going to have to be a pretty good one at that if he wants to stay alive. But VP not necessarily showing any interest of actually doing something right off the bat. We see the smokes coming in here. Mihu might actually commit to the inner push all by himself, trying to sell the fake. And while with JKS going down, that's going to have to force a rotation from Renegades.
Yeah, this is Renegades. This is VP, hitting the A site though. Mihu's going to be able to draw all these rotates, but Renegades are committed. They're not buying it anytime soon. Pasha's going to get blindsided, and he misses a shot with the AWP. Ustilo with another opportunity, but Pasha takes it away. 2 players up for Renegades, but they made it a 2-on-2. Bomb down the site, and Snacks had to go for the plant. There were only 10 seconds left, but what a mess from Virtus.pro. They had everything going for them. They had the B kills, but Renegades committing to the A site.
The problem is simply that the interfic is too good. To the point where it's like, well, what do you do if you're Renegades there? You're so far removed from the B bomb side. You're 2 men down. If you make a rotation to try to go for a retake, first off, a lot of times it's going to be off the bomb. VP are going to have all kinds of solid after-flat positions. You don't necessarily have the utility to do so as well. So they're giving up. They're ready to save. Like, they're thinking to themselves, like, well, we're already on the opposite side of the map. We might as well hold on here, keep our guns into the next round and deal with that. Instead, they have Virtus.pro just walking in to the bear trap that is Renegade setting up kind of just, like, haphazardly. But they'll take that any day.
Dear oh dear. That is an awkward round to lose for VP. Almost everything going for them. It was very late though, so Snacks had to force the plant, and that added further complications.
Exactly, he couldn't do anything more about it.
I'm surprised he didn't go for the connector plant as well, considering he's already open to connector on that plant. He may as well plant 4 connector, and not only do you have Mihu on B, but you're also very exposed in that plant spot.
You did have JKM and Pop Dog though, so maybe in that sense you're thinking, well, if I'm planning in between the trains, I'm covered from Pop, I'm covered from Ivy, I'm covered from most places, not the position Azza was using, but instead the ZZ rush is going to function or like work out for VP for now at least. Bialy finds 1 frag, but Jacob trades immediately 3 frags.
What is it with Jacob and his anti-ecos? I feel like if Jacob dies, Renegades almost lose the anti-ecos, and then as soon as Jacob gets a chance, he'll find 3 or 4 kills. He's done that twice now. He locked it down from Pop Dog in the first half.
He's done very well to make the most of the opportunities, I guess, when presented with them. Snacks, he's going to have to do the same. I'd be able to find Jacob, but Jacob actually already posted up. He can find the ace here, an anti-eco ace at that, but still, you'll take what you get. And yeah, doesn't miss the opportunity. 21 kills for Jacob with that, and that puts him on top of the board by quite some margin, actually. Closest player, Nifty, at 15. We're talking about JKS having a great start to the game, and I think just all across the board, everyone from Renegades have had their moments of chipping in and actually proving their worth in that sense. And as you said, you have to consider the fact that these are anti-eco kills.
Yeah. Now we're really at an awkward point in the game, though, because Renegades, they've got a significant lead. VP have one more buy here. If they don't get a bomb plant, their money's going to be down to max loss bonus, and that's it, 3,400. So VP, they need a bomb plant as a bare minimum in this round if they want to buy up or buy up properly.
Yeah.
And Renegades only a couple of rounds away from taking VP's map pick. That would be a pretty successful win. Again, it would kind of take away from the fact that we thought this was going to 3 maps.
Yeah, definitely. So at that point, it should be a 2-0 for Renegades.
In theory, at least.
Yeah. Problem for Renegades right now, though, even though they won the first 4 rounds of the half, they don't necessarily have too much money to speak of. They've been taking a bit of a beating, as you mentioned. They haven't done best with their anti-ecos to start things off, losing 4 players and so on. So this is definitely a big one for them as well. They don't want to end up in a situation that VP found themselves in versus 8GO, where you give an opportunity, you just give an inch to your opponent to sneak back into it and get a couple of ops on their side. They start finding opening frags, and eventually things just spiral out of control.
Well, let's see what VP have for us in this round. They've been going very, very late on these executes. The T side has been extremely delayed from the Polish. They've got to speed things up. They've got to go fast. Like a train. 30 seconds left, and Bialy's starting to make contact down Ivy, but there's no one here, and that's the issue. Again, they haven't got a pick, and they're only just going to initially make the first contact with 25 seconds on the clock. And there it is. Azza with 1, doubling it down. That's a big couple of kills because it shuts down VP in this round. We need the bomb plant to come through, but Nifty, he's still in the connector. The smoke hasn't been placed. Finally, it's going to be put into position, but Ustillo is in a better spot. 2 kills, maybe a third, and Ustillo, he's going to lock it down on train once again. Renegades 14-6, and I mean that just echoes when you said everyone has had their moments. Azza with 2, Ustillo with 3. Not the top fraggers, but they have an impact.
Exactly, and that's really what matters. You can tell they're all doing their part, and they're doing it in essential rounds as well. This was, as you mentioned, a very, very big round for Virtus.pro. If they don't get a bomb plant, and losing in the round, they're not going to have the best of buys, as reflected by what they're currently sitting with. And obviously, they need round wins at this point. Renegades looking to get to match point versus one of the weaker buys VP has had all game. Usually, when we see in this kind of buy, they would have had it followed up by 2 ops, especially on the CT side. That's not the case anymore.
Look at the confidence as well.
JKM spot a 1.
He makes contact. Snack should be going for the peek here. He should be trying to help his teammate out, and there it is. So that's a gun drop. That's a weapon given over to VP, and they could take every single one they can get. Shots from the pop dog not going to connect, and Azza, he needs to lock this down right here and right now. Does find Snacks. Ustillo joining in as well, but there's a player below him. He doesn't seem to realize he's been passed by Mihu, who's found his way up Ivy, and Pasha is still pushing out of main with another kill on the AK. Rifles up for VP, and the bomb is still stuck in the yard, but JKS, he's trying to cut off this rotate of Pasha, who's still yet to push main, although he doesn't need to. VP holds strong. They stand tall and wait for Renegades to show this last player's position. JKS, I don't think he's made contact at all just yet. He's only fired 1 bullet this entire round, so they shouldn't know where he is. And you can see VP just checking everywhere, making sure all their boxes are ticked.
Pasha just misses out on JKS as well. There's no reason for Pasha to move out of A, man. This is going to have to be on Bialy. So for the problem... Oh, okay,
no.
Gives it up.
That's awkward.
But say the issue for VP here is that Bialy is the one with HP. He's got the bomb on his back as well, though. So it's very easy for JKS, if he doesn't flash himself, to actually find Bialy's teammates in that scenario. So he could have very easily swung down to a 1v1 as Bialy's planning. Which is crazy to me, though, that Azza doesn't get their information of Mihu pushing that aggressively. They've already tagged him up initially. They know he's been pushing forward. And Azza's basically on top of his head. That would have been a vital trade frag to get. That could have saved the lives of, well, not just only of Azza. He could have gotten into, or gotten out of dodge by dropping down into Ivy, but...
Well, it was good utility from VP at the very least, right? They fully flashed him, so he had no idea until Mihu had already passed him by.
Yeah, but then Mihu kills one of his teammates, right? Like, so you feel like at that point he should know.
You'd hope.
You'd hope so, but it happens. Chaos ensues when yard takes happen. There's so many trains and whatnot to worry about.
Could be communication again. Azza, he's Australian, Nifty's American. Like, language barrier there.
That is true. I mean, that Australian accent is something of its own. Half the time we don't get what Chad's saying.
Or at least we tell him. 14-7 though, VP, no op here. And limitations for Renegades buy, but they do have an AWP of their own. Neo...
They love to do that.
Yeah. I don't know how he doesn't die there.
Bialy's done it, Snack's done it, now Neo. Just dipping their toes in the water.
It's a bit too cold for their liking.
Yeah, they were not big fans. Maybe they'll be more offensive if they can do it as a group pressure and whatnot. Or if they want to use some utility, maybe a Molotov to heat up the water. But for now, just standing still. Nifty in a 1v1 battle versus Bialy obviously has a golden opportunity to be able to find an opening frag for Renegades here, but remains to be seen if Bialy wants to be aggressive at all. Nifty's the kind of guy to walk ahead of the smokes, and he's going to do that as well. Great. That's exactly what you expect out of Nifty as well.
But 20 seconds again for VP, and they're only starting to make their way down B. This is so delayed. There's still Molotovs for Renegades, and VP have to smoke it out and push. They do go for it, but JKS, every kill is found, even if it's traded, means Renegades still keep this man advantage. Bomb plant coming through just in the nick of time, but there's only one player left in all of that madness. It's Mihu on the back line. Plant is not for him. Does have a Molotov, and they don't have a smoke, but he needs to kill Azza before it can go down, and that just won't happen. Again, VP, they're leaving it too little and too late.
Yeah, definitely. So it becomes down to, typical execute that you see someone like Navi do, for instance, where, and I guess in the olden days, where it's basically your execute has to work out perfectly. If there's just a small hitch, that's just the end of it. Like, sure, you might get a bomb plant, but you have 1 to 2 players alive, or you don't find the opening frag, and, well, now you don't have time to plan anymore because the rotations have come in. So yeah, Renegades as well having done a really good job of holding on to their utility as well. You can see JKS. The second Virtus.pro are about to actually move forward. That Molotov gets dropped with, as you said, 20 seconds left in the round, and you can't sit through that if you're VP. You have to use one of your Molotovs that you obviously would have liked to use for the connector area to fend off any sort of rotation, allow yourself to get into a nice position.
The old smoke there from VP. Nothing going well for them here in the 23rd round. They're looking to keep this map alive, but Renegades want to shut it down. Good spray, at least finding one, and damage to the second that Jacob will finish off, and there we go. As quick as you like it, Renegades find the victory here. 16-7 on Train. That's not a close affair, and that's VP's map pick as well. We already preluded to this game supposedly being a 3-mapper, but VP have come into their first map and shown nothing.
They got smashed. I do think the first half of the CT side was a little bit deceiving in terms of scoreline.
Yeah.
VP definitely had multiple opportunities where they got really, really close. And again, it was clutches and individuals to bring it back for Renegades in multiple instances. But that is kind of the name of the game as well. You do have to have those things working the way for you. Renegades, obviously, versus Hellraisers didn't have any of that going their way. This time it's a little bit different, and you can see what kind of massive swing that makes in the results as well when they actually get a bit of an economy to work with, when they can start setting the pace of the game themselves instead of just constantly getting run in. And I think that's also, you mentioned this, that Hellraisers were constantly poking and prodding to what Renegades were doing. This time we didn't really see it outside of one round from Mihu and Ivy.
Yeah.
So a lot of freedom for Renegades to just move about, get free map control.
And they won
took
that
full
round.
advantage. Yeah. VP won that round. That was a zero investment round. Just Mihu with a saved weapon and a couple of pistols really to boot, and that was it. So definitely could have liked, or would have liked to see more of that from VP, but in the end, Renegades just felt like the better team, or they were the better team for that first map, and that does spell, that's a bad omen for VP going into Inferno.
It spells disaster, right? Now we move to Renegades map pick. Their comfort ground, I guess you could say, and they've already shown good promise on it here in StarSeries so far. So I'm kind of worried now for VP. I feel like I'm really leaning towards a 2-0.
I'm really worried. So yeah, this should be a 2-0.
Yeah,
from
in
this
theory.
one.
But nothing makes sense at the end of the day. That's one thing we've learned here in Kiev. So join us after the break if we